Meghan Markle has once again taken center stage, not for royal duty, not for humanitarian work, but to promote herself. At the Fortune Most Powerful Women Summit in Washington, the Duchess of Sussex delivered what can only be described as a carefully curated monologue designed to reinforce her self-image as a savvy businesswoman and media mogul. But beneath the glossy soundbites and carefully chosen words lies a pattern that has become all too familiar: selective truth, strategic exaggeration, and an unmistakable tendency to reshape narratives to suit her ambitions. During her conversation with Fortune's editor-in-chief Alison Chantel in a session titled Next Level Influence, Meghan unveiled a new chapter in her ongoing Hollywood reinvention tour. She spoke enthusiastically about her and Prince Harry's media deals, saying, "My husband and I were in an overall deal with Netflix then, not dissimilar to Higher Ground and the Obamas deal. Once that had come to its term, the extension of it, which was such an incredible sign of the strength of our partnership, was now being in a first-look deal." At first glance, this sounds triumphant, the Sussexes, like the Obamas, cementing their status as major players in global media. But a closer look exposes a more uncomfortable truth. The extension she speaks of is not a sign of overwhelming success, it is, in fact, a quiet downgrade. Their lucrative overall deal with Netflix, which promised blockbuster content and major cultural impact, failed to produce anything remotely close to the Obamas' critically acclaimed output. Instead of renewing on the same powerful terms, Netflix shifted them to a more cautious first-look deal, a far cry from the sweeping creative control they once boasted. The Duchess's wording is masterful, designed to mask retreat as advancement. Calling it such an incredible sign of the strength of our partnership is pure spin. Netflix did not extend the original deal, they reduced it. A first-look deal gives the platform the right to consider their projects first but doesn't guarantee production, budget, or distribution. It's Hollywood's polite way of saying, "We'll see what you bring us next." Meghan, however, is not one to acknowledge setbacks. Instead, she reframes them, using polished corporate language to project strength and control. The problem is, this pattern has become transparent. Her comments at the summit echoed previous attempts to rewrite uncomfortable realities: the Spotify split, the underwhelming output of Archewell Productions, and the quietly shelved projects that once carried big promises. Another revealing moment came when Meghan discussed her digital presence and how she manages public engagement. She subtly justified her decision to turn off comments on platforms connected to her brand, citing the need to create a healthier space. But anyone following her trajectory knows this is not simply about health or positivity. Meghan has long struggled with controlling the narrative once it escapes her inner circle. Turning off comments is less about creating a safe space and more about insulating herself from scrutiny, criticism, or any perspective that does not align with her curated image. For someone who frequently champions authenticity and connection, Meghan's approach is curiously one-sided. She speaks, the world listens, but she does not allow the world to speak back. That is not influence, that is control. Throughout the interview, Meghan positioned herself as a figure of visionary leadership, emphasizing flexibility and strategic thinking. She spoke about shopping content that might not be the right fit for Netflix but has a home somewhere else. This line, too, reveals more than it intends. The translation is simple: Netflix isn't buying everything they pitch. After years of hype about their media empire, the Sussexes are now in the uncomfortable position of having to shop their ideas around, a humbling step down from the royal to Hollywood fairy tale that was sold to the public. For a woman who once stood on palace balconies, commanding global headlines simply by appearing, this recalibration is significant. Meghan wants to be seen as a businesswoman on par with the Obamas, Oprah, or other major cultural figures. But unlike those figures, she has yet to deliver substantial results that match her rhetoric. Her greatest skill remains presentation, turning every setback into an opportunity to deliver a speech about empowerment. The Fortune Summit should have been an opportunity for Meghan to demonstrate tangible achievements, successful projects, cultural impact, clear vision. Instead, it became a stage for more polished language, more strategic omissions, and more self-promotion wrapped in empowerment jargon. It's telling that Meghan continues to rely on platforms like Fortune to reinforce her narrative rather than letting her work speak for itself. Her Netflix deal did not become the cultural juggernaut it was promised to be. Her Spotify deal ended with a whimper, not a bang. Her media ventures have generated far more headlines about her than about any meaningful content. Yet, she continues to speak as though she is rewriting the media landscape. This is the core of the Meghan Markle paradox. She wants to be admired for her achievements, but her public image is built almost entirely on the power of her words, not the weight of her results. She talks about influence as if it were a crown she can simply wear. But true influence, like true leadership, is earned through action, consistency, and delivery, not through carefully managed interviews and semantic gymnastics. In Washington, Meghan delivered yet another performance of reinvention. But the cracks are showing. The words may be smooth, the delivery polished, but the facts are stubborn. The deal has shrunk. The results are thin.